It's only my opinion. Coffee milk.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. This is Coffee Milk. My name is Cleon. Jacob is over there. Bianca is down there. This is our second episode. I'm excited. Yay. I'm really excited. So how was your week, guys? Let's start with Bianca, the mom of the show. How was your week, B?
It was good. It went by quick, which is weird because like usually time is like going slow. And actually it's weird. Time is going both fast and slow at the same time, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's pretty good. I stayed COVID free, which is great.
Another week, yes.
Yes, I saw a meme today though. It was hilarious because it totally pertains to me. It was like if you have if you sleep with your AC and your ceiling fan on, you wake up feeling like you have coronavirus. And dude, that's so true. Like this morning, I slept with that shit on, and I woke up. I was like, wait a minute, is that you, Rona? I drank some water and I feel better.
Any morning, I wake up with a slight sore throat. I start to panic on the inside.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, contact tracing, whatever symptoms.
There was one time, I'm not gonna lie to you. There was one time I was in the kitchen. I forgot I was heating up something and it fell on the ground. I was like, 5-second rule, right? So I ate it.
Yeah.
The next morning I woke up with a sore throat. I was like, God damn it, Cleon! You got the Rona because you couldn't help yourself.
It dropped directly into a coronavirus droplet. Like there was
one on your floor.
A coronavirus that it just fell into.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ruined drinking for me because I drank a little in excess yesterday and I totally woke up and I just like you guys said, the first thought I was like, Rona.
Rona.
Anytime you feel off, it's like the first thing you think about is that, man.
Is that you, Ronnie?
Is that you, Tony? Is that you?
I mean, if you occasionally smoke, you always have that dry cough. So
right.
unproductive cough has just been part of my lifestyle for so long.
Since forever.
Yeah.
It's so fucked up too because like I'm like not gonna lie, like I'm overweight. Listen, never said I was ugly, so don't say, "Oh, you're beautiful." I know, but I am overweight. That's fine. Well, it's not fine. I'm trying to fix it. But anyways, the point is that I'm constantly like, do I have diabetes? Like every time I eat something sweet, and then like one of the things that happens to people before they find out they have diabetes is that they like start drinking a lot and peeing a lot. And so I know like the other day I was like drinking a bunch of water and I'm like, is that you, beaties? And I'm just like, God damn it.
I'm sorry, I feel bad laughing about that.
No, it's fine. But it's like, no, you just had like a thirsty day. It's fine. But it's just like,
no, you just happened to be a hot day and you needed more water than usual.
Right. I was like talking a lot. And I'm like, is that you, beaties? Is that you, Rona? Which one is it?
I know, between the two of them.
How about you, Jake? How was your week?
I've been having a great week. So 8 days ago, I moved from Boston to Providence, and obviously moves are always stressful, but I've been settling in back in my old digs, so that's nice. And now my roommates and I are on vacation down by the shore. So we've been going down. We had a big seafood feast, which was part of the reason I thought I had coronavirus because I was eating salty seafood and crappy beer, and I had that dry cough when I woke up, but it was totally worth it.
You do have the
great.
face
Can't complain.
You do have the face of a man who's been spending time at the beach. Like
I know. The SPF 50 can only do so much, Cleon.
Well, you're only missing. Yeah, I'm like the only thing you're missing is the actual like tan. You're still freaking pale.
I know. It's bad.
Great.
It's the lighting. I usually look much bronzer.
Why did you have to flex? Anyway.
Bronze.
Because he made me insecure.
He's like,
come on, guys.
That is hilarious.
Oh my god. Oh, but anyways.
Yeah, what's up to?
Yo, these week, every day is the same. Every week is the same. Like nothing changed. I feel like it's Groundhog Day. I'm in like a fucking weird loop of just the same. So I don't know. Nothing nothing really fun that I can think about has happened other than like I got a PlayStation 4, which I know I'm hella late.
Whoa.
Like I'm that dude that waits till the very last minute to either up his console. When like they're bringing in the new console, that's when I'm like, you know what? It's the perfect time for me to get that last console that was out.
Yeah.
That's the perfect time because you save like 90% of the cost, or
Right.
that much, but
I'm only current for like maybe 2 months with everyone until the new system comes out, and then everyone's like, all right, we're out.
It happens to me with the new iPhones. I'm just like, oh man, I'm so excited like to get the 11. It's like, well, 12's coming out next month. I'm like, what?
Right. It's just like whatever.
that's how they get you guys. You guys are just that marketing. That marketing's getting you.
Oh, I don't. You look at my phone. My phone is ancient, old. I don't even think it does FaceTime. Like I'm not one of those people. I've never owned an iPhone in my entire life. What, Bianca? I'm sorry.
You got the game Snake on your phone.
Yes.
It comes with the phone. It's not even a phone.
I missed that though. I missed that. Why did they take away all the sweet games? When we were in high school, like they had the best games on iPhone.
Yo, Snake was the ish. Think about how many hours you would like sit in class or whatever and play Snake. Borrow someone's phone if you didn't have yours.
Yo,
Like,
I was hella souped on people's sidekicks. Like, yo, let me get a sidekick just so I can go like this. Like,
just
flipping it.
Sidekicks were
Oh,
so
open
cool.
that shit. I'm like, oh, that looks so fun. Let me flip it.
Yo, that was the sweetest phone to open. Not anything else. I didn't care about any other function on that phone. Just to open, just the way it opened.
I think that was the first phone that was like, I saw it. I was like, oh damn, that's a small computer. You know, I think that was
Yes,
really
yes.
hit that.
No, for
My
sure.
favorite though was the Nextel Chirp.
Oh. Yo, you remember when everybody walkied everybody? You would hear people's conversations for no reason.
That was so stupid.
It's literally, we were talking about college dropout and like what an impact it made on our generation. That Nextel Chirp is like almost as impactful as Kanye West was.
Right.
Oh my God. All right. All right, let's get into the show. Our topic for this week, it's a little heavy. I guess it's not heavy. It's just a lot to think about, right? We're going to talk about reparations. And I guess we're going to get very specific with it. Jake, we were talking about you used...
Well, one reason I wanted to bring it up is because a lot of cities, including the city we grew up in, all of us, Providence, Rhode Island, has been looking at doing municipal reparations. So
right.
Basically the idea, and we can talk about this more, but most historians agree that like the federal government and just Americans collectively owe Black Americans, and particularly the descendants of slavery, reparations for just all the oppression that's been heaped on them. And a big problem with it in progressive circles, the main thing that's debated is like, how can you get it passed on a national scale? Because it's just Republicans would never go for it, and a lot of Democrats wouldn't either. So some progressive cities, including the one we grew up in, is just looking into doing municipal reparations, which has never really, as far as I know, been looked at before, and might be a little problematic for some reasons we can talk about later. But that's kind of what got it started. But I mean, I think we could probably talk about reparations more broadly.
Well, I guess the first thing I'd like to start is sort of the definition of reparations, because I don't know if a lot of people know. So reparations, the making of amends for a wrong one has done by paying money to or otherwise helping those who have been wronged. So it is the perfect thing, I think, for African Americans who were descendant of slaves. This is what I think those people need to sort of put a jolt to their life. And they've been promised this. From the beginning of this country, this thing has been promised. And this country has let it gone years and years have added up. And still, the African Americans who are connected to that, they haven't received it. And it is getting much harder, I guess, to do so. But I do agree, sort of like making it more local. And especially, I think the number one thing to attack are schools. Because, and we're going to talk more, I guess, about this later, but if you look at the Providence schools themselves, the buildings, like inside those buildings, they're god awful, right? Like they're not the prettiest. Some of them look like jails. Like it's not a healthy environment to learn. So I think that should be one of the main things if we're talking about reparation and sort of making it more on a local scale that we should attack.
Agreed.
No one else has anything.
No, I mean, I do have some stuff to say. I mean, the tough thing is, yeah, like, how do we do this? You know, because a lot of people would like to see it mainly go to education, but there are a lot of, you know, well-meaning voices in the African-American community who think it should go there and other places, or, you know, other places like Black entrepreneurship, you know, historically Black colleges. There's two tough questions, right? The first one is how we would get it passed politically. And then even when we do that, like, people of good faith who want to push reparations through, you know, it's a horrible problem because it's like it's hundreds of years in the making. And yeah, it is really difficult. And at least with this Providence thing, these municipal things, I don't think a municipal government has enough resources to really take reparations seriously. I mean, I think it really needs to come from the federal government if it's going to be effective and worthy of the name reparations. I don't know.
Well, then if that's the case, then it's probably not going to happen anytime soon, just because of who's the leader right at this point. So it's I thought we were, I guess I thought there would be more to it, other than like what we've said already. I just think it's, and like you said, I feel like it's a hard thing to wrap our heads around, and but I still, even though I think it's a hard thing to do, I feel like the best way to do it is to sort of chip away at it. So I think a lot of the times when we think about problems, we think about the whole entire problem, right? And it's like, how are we going to solve this big, gigantic problem? The best way to solve something huge like that is to chip away at it a little, like little things here and there, and until you then solve it. So yes, it's going to take a lot of money, but all the money that we put into the military, all the money that we throw away and put into the police, all that money that we use to put into systems that don't actually work, though that money could be used to then sort of inject into schools. And the funny thing is that even when things are, when, let's say, money is injected into schools, it's not only affecting the Black community, it's going to affect all the other communities that go to that school. Because it's not only Black people that go to a Black school. There are Hispanics there, there are whites, they're I
think the population in Providence, as far as who goes to public schools, it's like something crazy, like 90% Hispanic. I'm probably off with that number, but it's something like
definitely majority Hispanic.
Yeah, it's like way more Hispanic than anything else, which is fine. I don't mind sharing.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Let's start chip away at these systems that accommodate other races too, but will help the Black community, because we know, like, the schools that you say that are mostly Hispanic, that's where a lot of the Black kids are going, right? Mm-hmm. Like in Rhode Island's weird that I feel like the most mixed part of Rhode Island is Providence. Once you get outside of Providence, Rhode Island is hella white. Mm-hmm. All the other schools, whether it be in Newport, Bristol, or whatever, those schools are majority white kids.
Providence County is diverse, because if you go to Cranston, Pawtucket, East Providence, those are all fairly diverse communities, right?
Right, yeah.
Well,
less so than Providence.
Yeah. What do you say about Pawtucket?
No, I'm just thinking about diversity. Like, Cranston is pretty white. Warwick, pretty white. I would say, like,
Central Falls is really
Hispanic.
Like, I think Hispanic driven. And so is Pawtucket
might be like, East Providence. I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, I think this kind of, so I don't think there's much debate, because we might want to go over what people who are against reparations say about it, just because it's not a popular idea in the United States, especially.
I don't have those notes. Do you have any notes on?
Yeah, I mean, generally, I mean, a lot of it's based on racism and a misunderstanding of history. I mean, there's an idea that slavery ended in 1860, in the 1860s, and like basically folks, like black folks, had plenty of time to kind of recoup, like to recoup.
But we did. But here's the thing: we did it, and when we did, for instance, right? For instance, I think it was the Tulsa Massacre and Black Wall Street. So the thing is that we did rebuild. Through it all, right? When we were out of slavery, we sold. The reason why people pit watermelon against us, like niggas love watermelons, is because when we got out of slavery, that's the thing that we sold, right? To make money for our family. Black Americans sold fucking watermelons, right? So we tried to pick ourselves up. We build fucking Black Wall Street to try to build ourselves up. We build these all other fucking communities to try to build ourselves up. And the white community found reasons to tear those communities apart. So when people do say that, when people say things like that, it's bullcrap. And I don't think as much as they talk about how they're pro-America, they clearly haven't paid attention to their American history.
Yeah, that's exactly correct.
So those are invalid arguments why black people I don't even know how to put that term together. What is it? Black people of slave descent. I don't even.
Descendants of slaves.
Yeah.
Descendants of slaves. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry.
I mean, one thing, but the terms we use. I mean, there's also a debate. Should folks like yourself, Clan, like folks of African descent who are recent immigrants, should they get reparations? And that
no.
People disagree about.
And I can only talk for myself as a Jamaican. I was born in Jamaica. The majority of my family comes from Jamaica. My root is in Jamaica. Anything that happened to slavery happened in Jamaica, and we dealt with that already in Jamaica. My people, Jamaica, we dealt with that. We're still dealing with that. We're still not owned, but slightly ran by the royal crown in a weird way.
The British.
So, like, we are dealing with, as a Jamaican, we've dealt with slavery and are dealing with slavery, right? I don't think I deserve any money from that because I'm not a descendant of an American slave. I'm just a black Jamaican male. That doesn't afford me the money. So I don't want any money. But I do think people who family who were slaves, they deserve that because we promised them as Americans. And how dare, after all these years, after we promised them something, we're going to tell them, oh, you think you deserve it? Well, yeah, because you told me you were going to give it to me. You said that you were going to give it to me. So
I think the counter argument to that is that obviously slavery, as a white American, the reason I feel like some of my tax dollars should go to reparations, first and foremost, is slavery. But like you said, there was that racial terrorism of which Black Wall Street was just like the worst example. It was extremely widespread.
I like racial terrorism.
What?
Racial terrorism, that was a good term.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it was. And sometimes there was a pretext of a crime in a lynching, but often just like Black Wall Street, like the crime the black person who was lynched had was being successful. Like that was all they did. And
it usually starts with a white woman saying, hey, he looked at me wrong. Hey, and that's always the reasoning for
sometimes it was, but sometimes it was just like, this guy's making a lot of money, we just can't.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. I agree with you, but I'm saying then they would get people riled up, not by saying, oh, this guy makes more money than me, but oh, this guy raped or looked at this white woman wrong, or it's
100%. But one thing we haven't talked about.
I'm gonna invite my mom here and ask her about the reparations.
Yeah, invite her.
Because she's got strong words.
But one thing we haven't talked about, and in terms of the federal government specifically, really adds their culpability, is just redlining and all the kind of racial politics with the New Deal. Because my family were really poor until the New Deal in the 1930s, and then World War II with the GI Bill. And with most white families I know, like the New Deal and then the GI Bill really took them out of either rural or urban poverty and put them in a more middle class footing. And those things designed by the federal government systematically disenfranchised, systematically were not available for Black folks. And
within the same time, they were promising Black people 40 acres and a mule and saying they couldn't get it at the same time, in California, they were given like hundreds of acres out. I mean, not hundreds of acres out, but millions of acres out, whatever, to people, individuals. They're getting like hundreds of whatever acres individually. Just
yeah, I mean,
California.
40 acres and a mule is a worthwhile thing to discuss, because basically what happened is when when the Northern Army invaded the South, most rich white slave owners escaped. Like, they left their lands and often left their slaves there. And so General Sherman and the Northern Army was mixed in its treatment of freed slaves, or freed enslaved people. But in some cases, there was a project by the U.S. military to take this abandoned plantation land and give it to formerly enslaved African American people. Unfortunately, and Lincoln by and large backed this plan. But unfortunately, Lincoln's assassination was really, really effective. The guy who did it was, segregation. It was a, pro-Southern person. And Lincoln's successor was completely anti-Black, was very pro-Southern white, and completely did away with the program. And these traitors to our country who had their land confiscated, by and large, had it taken from their formerly enslaved people and given it back, which doesn't make any sense. It was a horrible policy. Yeah.
All right. Well,
our country constantly, like, this is a random thought, but like how our country constantly elects, it goes back and forth with who we elect. Like, it's never like, oh yeah, like we're like staying Democratic for a long time. It's always like, no, we need something different. We need a real good racist in there. And then it's like, no, let's vote in a Black man now. No, let's go back to the racism. That didn't work. The Black man didn't work out very well. And it's like what are we doing here? Like, how? America confuses me.
America wants to keep us in control, right? If we get too excited, that's when when they throw us someone like a Trump. Like, I think it's fear. Personally, I think Obama scared the crap out of white America, just because like he didn't do anything in his whole presidency to make you feel like there was no news, yeah. So I don't know. I don't really
as a white person who isn't particularly racist, and social, yeah, a little bit, but I was personally surprised by how many white Americans just could not countenance having a Black president. And I think, I always knew racism was bad, but I think throughout American history, there has been a significant portion of white America who really just believes that, like, without racism, like, they will fail. Like, they believe that they need that leg up. And there is also a significant but smaller percentage of white Americans who have always been down to coalesce with Black folks and people of other races. So it's kind of that dualism, our politics have always been this struggle since the Civil War between this kind of the racist party and the not racist party.
It's so odd. Like, why do you feel like so like offended by my skin color? Like, it's so weird. It's like, why are you so fear. Yeah, but like, why? Like, it's just,
because if you are successful, it's if you are, okay, so if we have a pie, right, and you are taking some of the pie, I'm supposed to have some pie. Why do you get the pie over me? It's that kind of fear. It's like this. It's because America is ran by money, so people are just like, the first thing they think about is they're not gonna get. If you get some, I'm not gonna be able to get some. Like,
one thing we haven't talked about yet, which we probably should in the context of reparations, is just the difference in household wealth between Black families and white families. And
Black. Speaking of that, so Black Americans possess. Black Americans possess 2.6% of the nation's wealth, while being 13% of the population. So the average Black household has a net worth $800,000 lower than the average white household. So we're making a shit lot less money. That's not a right way to put it.
It's both that you're making,
we're not making enough.
Incomes are lower, but the household wealth, like the wealth gap, your saved wealth is there's an even bigger disparity. It's
because you don't have a chance.
What was that?
No, go on. Sorry, I'm interrupting.
Oh yeah, the median white family has 41 times the wealth of the median Black family, which is I was shocked when I saw that number. It's a huge disparity. And to your point, Bianca, I think that's why a lot of white folks are afraid of racial equality because they're like, if you don't have many black friends, if you don't know many black people, right, and you already are not doing well as a white person, like basically, like Cleon said, it's like, even with this white privilege, I don't have enough of the pie to get by. And so if we're going to kind of eliminate white privilege, then I'm totally fucked. And I think that's been a very powerful force.
Yeah, definitely, because it's always those damn poor country bumpkin ass, trailer park ass white people who are all about Trump.
Well, then again, I think we should
about
be.
you, actually.
I don't know. I mean, I think there are a lot of racist rich white people too. You know?
Oh no, oh definitely. But I'm just saying, it's like, it's so funny how like the poor white folks are also still all about Trump, and it's like he would walk on top of you if you were laying in a street in New York City in front of his building. Like he would literally walk right the fuck over you and not look at you 2 times, and it doesn't matter that you're white, to be honest.
Exactly.
Like, he would not reach out a hand and help lift you up, you dumb bitch.
Exactly.
Yeah, after Obama, I'm not surprised that we got a racist president. I'm just surprised the racists of America picked such an idiot. Like they could have found like someone who wasn't quite as.
But if you think about it, the Republican president before that wasn't that much smarter. Bush was a complete idiot. For some reason, Republicans are okay with idiots. Like as long as
I think it's a feature, not a bug for them, honestly.
Like I don't. Yeah. So since I've been in America, I have not seen a smart Republican leader. So that's just what I can say. Like none. So Trump isn't.
Speaking of being dumb as fuck, I just have to bring this up before I forget. That black dude, I cannot remember his name right now, but he just died of coronavirus.
Herman Cain, I think.
We have it. We're going to talk about it later. Okay. I do know what you're talking about. Yes,
I almost texted you, Clan, about having to put it in, but I was like, nah, Clan's got this.
Oh, God. What a dumbass.
It's time to move on. We're going to move on to some random Rhode Island news. So this is to piggyback what we were talking about I know, actually not this story, but I guess the next one after this one. So we're going to talk a little bit about Rhode Island and how we're dealing with the coronavirus, or the numbers a little bit. So Rhode Island Department of Health reported 119 people tested positive for COVID-19 for the first time on Monday, July 27th. So that's pretty recent. 119 people tested positive. And there was one corona-related death this week. So that brings the total of the state to 1,005 deaths and 18,725 known cases. So I don't think, Rhode Islanders, we should ignore the fact that tons of people are dying in our small little state. I think a lot of the times, even though we live in a small little knit state, we forget and we don't really see that it's in the thousands right now, the early thousands of people that have died. And it's probably people that you've known, come across, like, and it's just terrible that we want to sort of pretend like things are normal and get back to normal when these things are happening on a daily basis. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I had 2 of my friends over, my friend and like her girlfriend or whatever, and they were like saying that they were that she was like calling up her friend to invite her over to hookah or some shit, I don't know. And she was like, yeah, I can't, I have COVID. And it's like, that's not funny, but it's just like, holy shit, like, you know, this is happening. Like, I don't know this person, so I don't actually know anybody who's had COVID personally, but it is real and it is in our community. Like, this girl was literally going to come over my friend's house, who I invited to my backyard. I said, wait a minute, back up. First and foremost, I feel the COVID coming through your saliva, even from
them dirty hookah sucking lips.
Yo,
for real. First of all,
I'll edit that out.
Well, hookah's disgusting, so let's be clear about that. But anyways,
yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, no, I only will smoke it if I'm like very, very drunk in a club and
I tried it once and I'm like, what's the point of this smoke if it's not going to get me high? Like, if I'm not in the end going to be high and feeling good about life, why the fuck am I doing
great, I'm nauseous.
Yeah.
I'm great. I'm going to wake up in the morning feeling like I got the Rona.
Yeah, exactly.
This tastes like this tastes like fake blueberry. Yum yum yum. Like what the? I could get some Jolly Ranchers if I wanted fake blueberry. Like why am I taking?
Right, right.
Like, it's stupid. It's stupid.
But anyway, yeah, but like that made it super real because it was like, wait, I was like, first and foremost, when have you seen this girl last? And I was like, because how long were you on the phone with her? Because that shit could have got transmitted through the motherfucking waves.
Bill Gates, 5G.
You 5G, I know.
Yeah, like are you on 5G? I said, wait a minute, back up about 20 more feet. You know, we'll just, you know what? Matter of fact, just go to your house. We'll just FaceTime because this is ridiculous. But yeah, and it's like that shit's crazy. Like it's still people that like it's nobody that I've known so far, but it's getting kind of close. Like, you know, it could have easily that girl could have been like irresponsible, let's say, and been like, yeah, like I'm gonna come over, like I'm not feeling great, but you know, I'm sure it's nothing, and could have come to their house, you know what I mean? Then I would have known somebody with the Rona.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's just it. And it's only going to I feel like it's only going to get worse. You know, the second wave, I do believe that there is going to be a second wave if we're not in it already. I don't even know because I don't think we've ever gotten out of the first wave. It's just been a continuous, I don't know if it's a wave anymore, or if it's just a fucking tsunami. Like, yeah. So I fear that it's going to get worse. And every day I wake up, I'm like, why are we continuously trying to pretend things are normal? And that's actually lead me into the next story that I have, which is called Raimondo's Requests. I don't know how to say her damn name right.
Raimondo.
Raimondo.
Yeah.
Raimondo.
Like Ray, like my cousin Ray, like that, yeah.
Ray. Whatever. So Governor Gina Raimondo asked two pediatricians, sorry, I lost my place. Okay, sorry. So Gina Raimondo asked two pediatricians to reassure families that it's safe to send their children back to school on August 31st. So Miss Gina Raimondo is trying to get her friends from high places to convince everyday Rhode Islanders that it's perfectly fine, even though like there was 119 people just got COVID. It's okay. We should all just pretend like things are normal and send kids back to school.
Dude, I want to gouge my eyes out listening to this. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it. I get the guy that she got. So Raimondo asked Dr. James McDonald, who's also a chief administrative officer with the State Department of Health, and Dr. Elizabeth Lang to answer the biggest question facing families: is it safe to let our children return to school? So she's on this whole tier where she's trying to convince Rhode Islanders that it's okay. And I am sickened by that. That is gross. You clearly don't give a fuck about anybody. You clearly have an agenda to pretend like things are okay. Because if you're looking at the story that we just read previously, how could you think that it's okay right now to send kids back to school?
Forgive my ignorance, but what's the plan? Like, is it full and they want to be everyone in school, high school and everything in September?
Yep.
Yeah.
August 31st.
That's not the plan because they make it very clear that it's up to each district to come up with their own plans, which also has some interesting caveats, but yes, there is no plan. That's the goal, is to have everybody back in
by September or at some point
by August 31st. That's the day we're supposed to start school. She made a statewide schedule now, so all schools in Rhode Island will start and end on the same date. We'll have the same vacations and everything, which is actually great because it made no sense before that Cranston had a slightly different winter break than Providence or whatever. You know.
Yeah, listen, I mean, I'm with all you guys. I'm always playing the devil's advocate here, just that there are serious, and we don't know, but there's reason to believe there will be serious consequences for taking kids out of school. That being said, I mean, I don't think we'll be ready I don't think we'll be ready by September, by August
We don't have a plan.
Yeah, I'm not a public health expert. I'm not a teacher. I'm not an educator. It just seems like weather's on our side right now, right? It seems like we have a perfect condition in Rhode Island right now for not spreading the disease, as far as I can tell. as a layman. And because the weather is nice, we're not cooped up indoors. By the time the weather starts getting cold, I expect cases to rise dramatically in the Northeast, the Northwest, and that's going to coincide with schools. We don't really know what this is going to look like. So I just hope. I like Raimondo. Like, I mean, I don't know that much about her, but what I know, I like her. But I just hope that she's being cautious because, you know,
I don't like anyone that
risk. There's a lot of people we know at risk. You know,
I don't trust anyone that values money over human life. You're not a good person to me if you value money over human life. You're not a decent person to me. You're not any of that. Anything that describes what a good person is, you are not that if you value money over human life. You don't have a plan, which points to me that you value money over actual human life. You just are telling people and getting pediatricians who are on your payroll to convince the Rhode Island public that it's okay. And that's disgusting. When you do disgusting things like that, to me, that defines you as a disgusting human being.
yeah, I'm gonna admit I didn't. What was that? Do you want me to?
I'm sorry?
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna say that like Jake had said like I honestly didn't pay too much attention to my state level politics, which is wrong.
Me too.
But also, you know, whatever, I have a life and I'm a mom and everything else. But I thought that everything that Gina Raimondo had done regarding the coronavirus up until the school thing has been wonderful. She's led Rhode Island, and she's been fabulous in leading Rhode Island to having our low numbers, like keeping us as safe as possible, you know, like shutting things down when she needed to shut down and everything else. And so that's why I am so, like, my mind is blown that she could even dream of opening schools right now when she's done such a great job keeping us safe all this time. Like, it's just so confusing to me when literally in her briefing on Wednesday, the first thing that she was saying was, you know what, guys, people are getting sick doing these outdoor barbecues. You guys are crowding at the beaches. You guys are getting together for parties. And so instead of having gatherings up to 25 people, I'm lowering it down to 15 people. That's the most you're allowed to hang out with people at a party. Well, why are you sticking us in a classroom with up to 30 kids per day? It's like we're having a party every day with 30, maybe masked kids. They may not be masked. I don't know. Knowing them, they'll freaking put the mask down just to sneeze because they don't want to breathe in their own sneeze. They will do. I'm telling you.
I did that once early on in the epidemic. I'm not proud of it.
You know, because sometimes you're like, oh, this thing's covering gross. And I get it, you know what I mean? But they're kids and they do dumb stuff. Like, they don't even bring a pencil. You think they're going to bring their mask every day? Like, dead ass, like, they don't bring any. There's kids who don't bring backpacks, period. like, you think they're going to bring a mask every day? Like, it's ridiculous to even dream of it. And it's like, she did such an awesome job. So I'm just totally confused by this. Like, it just feels so weird and so out of character for the way she's been acting.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I mean, I think there are real concerns. I hope that there's like a modulated return. I mean, I was speaking with a friend, Justine's mom, a friend of ours who's another public school teacher. And she was saying how, as far as she was concerned, they should start with the youngest kids and maybe open up some high schools that aren't being used for young kids, just to kind of, so you can spread them out a little bit more. And then just do a tiered reopening. Because most high school kids seem like they spread the disease pretty bad, and they can also kind of look after themselves, you know, like a 6-year-old sort of needs, like, it's hard to work full time and look after a 6-year-old, you know.
That's absolutely true.
I hope we're being cautious. I would also like to see, I mean, this is probably radical and probably a lot of our viewers will disagree with me, but I walked by a bar and people were sitting inside a bar drinking in Providence, and, you know, people were sitting and drinking, talking stuff. Like, that's a bad look, you know. Bars are really, really important. Bars and restaurants are very important economically to the city of Providence, everywhere else, but like they're a very big source of community spread. And I think if we are going to reopen the schools, we have to cut down on other sources of community spread and be really, really draconian about that, as much as it sucks.
I agree, and I think the governor,
Gina's been doing good. I kind of have some goodwill for her. This is a hard needle to thread. I'm not hating on Gina. I'm concerned, but I'm not hating on Gina.
For me, and I get what you guys are saying, and you know, and what Bianca said has calmed me down just a little. You know, I'm not as irate as I was, but I still feel strong about not having a sound plan and just throwing our kids to the wind, which I feel like we're doing. And I don't feel like we're actually taking our time. We're putting a deadline on something and we're rushing to something that we don't need to. It's like we're setting a deadline for ourselves that we don't need, which is the most aggravating thing to me when people do that on a consistent basis. So
right. Can I tell you what's driving me insane too? Like they put a deadline on having to tell us what the final plan is going to be, which is August 17th. So on August 17th, she's gonna look at the numbers and say, okay, we're going back to distance learning for everybody, or we're gonna do hybrid or whatever she's gonna say. Ma'am, that leaves us 2 weeks to get it together with whatever the fuck we're going to be doing. That is not enough. Like, why couldn't you have just said in early June, we're gonna go back to distance learning in the beginning. We will reevaluate month by month or quarter by quarter, but we're definitely starting with distance learning, and therefore you have the entire summer to plan and make distance learning as awesome as possible. Because right now, distance learning and in-school learning is going to suffer because we only have 2 weeks to prepare for it.
Yeah.
Like, that's stupid. It's stupid.
And to do either, to either make teachers safe in sort of a hybrid setting or to really implement distance learning well. Like your Providence, Rhode Island, we're not going to be doing it when we have this horrible budget shortfall that came from COVID, you know, and like we really need federal help, you know, and so in the meantime, like we're going to do the best we can. And I hope people make the right decisions. And I'm frankly glad I'm not in power. You know, I would hate to have to be deciding this stuff. You know, and
I wouldn't. I want to be in power. Appoint me.
I never had any question about that, Bianca. There was no question about that, dog.
That's gonna be my thing. Bianca is sick and tired. Vote for her. 2021. Stop.
I can see Bianca being governor, dog.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say knock it off. I'm gonna be like, shut the fuck up. All right. Stop playing with me.
With that, we're going to move on to the next story, which is entitled Lincoln Woods. We're still on local stories right now, guys. So a Pawtucket man was missing for more than a week. His name is Thomas Lilly, and he's 22. He was returning with his family from a trip to New York on June 21st when he asked to be let out of the car to go camping with some friends at Lincoln Woods around 8:30. Lincoln Woods is closed around that time, not open, FYI. So on Monday around 6 p.m., I guess he went missing around, his family or whatever reported him missing. But on Monday around 6 p.m., park rangers spotted him and he fled from them. So they saw him and he didn't run to them. He ran away, and the state police located him near the state park with no reported injuries, and so they took him to Fatima Hospital. So I don't know if this is a case of like not quite there, or maybe this individual had a trouble living environment that they wanted to escape. But
yeah, it was the call of the wild, bro. The call of the wild. Don't you ever sometimes aren't you just walk past the woods or drive past the woods and you're like, no, I can just leave this all behind. Like wear animal skins. You don't ever have that impulse?
That makes sense because he was in New York for a nice little period of time. He must have just got sick of the city and all the cars and he needed some time alone.
New York during the Rona is tough. I've heard from all my friends whether it sucks, even worse than it usually does.
Yeah, I'm like, New York sucks. Oh God, I shouldn't say that. I don't want to alienate. New York doesn't suck. It's an acquired taste for certain people.
Fuck the Yankees, fuck the Nets.
I don't give a shit about sports.
I'm just joking, everyone. I love New York.
I don't give a crap about sports teams. But yes, I'm glad that he was found. He didn't seem like he wanted to be found though, which I'm concerned about, because it's like, how long are you gonna keep him if he doesn't want to be found? Like if he doesn't want to be part of the fam, like. I
mean, he's a grown ass man. I mean, if he wants to do his thing in the woods, do that Henry Thoreau thing.
Well, I guess he can't do it in a public park.
Like, go to Goddard Park or something. God damn. You're just thinking.
Yeah, is there a public park that they're like 24 hours a day where you can just be there and no one like questions? I don't think there's a thing.
And I love Lincoln Woods, but growing up, you always heard shady, shady stories about it.
Well, the pond area, like, isn't the water always there was one year where Lincoln Woods, where the pond was okay to swim in, and then after that, like, I swear it was never okay.
They were probably like, what have we done? And just never again.
Right. There was a meme when COVID first came out, and it's like, if you ever swim at Lincoln Woods, then you're actually not going to get COVID. You're good on COVID.
Your immune system is strong.
Yeah.
I just, whenever we went hiking there, like my friend's dad would be like, yeah, they found a body here. Like, we'd be like, oh, great.
There's always bodies turning up there.
Yeah. I mean, you get driving around with a body, you know, up, what is that?
Like
What else are you going to do?
Sorry, a bird came so close.
Oh my God. But the thing is, Lincoln Woods, I think, like, visually, it's oh my God, it's an appealing place, right? It looks nice, but I don't trust the waters of Lincoln Woods, but
Yeah,
anyways,
never.
what the?
Bianca has a problem, guys. A problem
He does.
with birds.
With
Yo,
the
I had to
bird.
just go scare one away because it was hella close. It was on the bush outside of the porch. But like I said, there's a hole in the screen, and it came very close to the hole in the screen. Like, I'm not playing games.
All right, we're gonna move on to the next story, and it's entitled "Minnesota Couple." I don't know if you guys have heard this, but so Walmart temporarily bans a couple after the pair wore swatch sticker face masks into a Minnesota store, in what they claimed was a political statement in the wake of the statewide mask mandate. So to them, they were saying they were wearing the swatch sticker mask because it's a political statement, because they wanted to be, you know, buck the system by wearing a racist symbol. I don't know how.
Wait, so what they're saying is they're not advocating racism. They're saying that it's like a fascist thing to make us wear face masks. So therefore they're equating people who wear masks to Nazis. Is that what they're doing?
I guess, but then wouldn't they be Nazis because then they're also wearing the face mask?
I'm not justifying either way.
I'm trying to understand.
Yeah. Either way, I think Walmart should take away that temporary ban and give them a permanent ban. That's what I would do, member of the Walton family. But
the funny thing is that this is, when I was reading the story, the thing that hit me, right, is that how in Walmart you can get banned for wearing a swatch sticker, little hoodie thingy, whatever. But if you had a Confederate flag one,
yeah,
that's okay. They probably even sell those there. So that's
in the right municipalities, yes, you're probably right.
The guns.
It's just weird how that symbol of hate is not like, no way, but then this symbol of hate is all right. You can do this symbol of hate, but not the other one.
Especially because in Germany, who had the Nazis, like if you rock a swastika, like you go to jail. And the reason you get fined at least. And the reason they do that is because like the Nazis were their problem and they're trying to make amends for it. You know, I would love to see us be more critical of the Confederate flag than the swastika. Because like, ultimately, I don't feel guilty about Auschwitz, you know? Like I do feel guilty about the Confederacy and all the things symbolized by that flag. So I'm not saying we should go German and like put people in jail for rocking the Confederate flag, but I would like to see people banned from private businesses for wearing it. Certainly. Do you think that's appropriate?
Oh, yeah, or you should be ashamed or be shamed. I don't know. Like, it's just, I don't know how do you take pride in something that symbolizes hate and then justify reasons why it doesn't symbolize hate, which is always, it always trips my mind how they find reasons to justify these things, but they do. All right, the next story is called False Imprisonment. On June 9th, a 54-year-old man, his name is Luis Santos, and he's from Seffner, Florida. So he stopped his car after he spotted a black teen boy riding his bike to an early morning basketball practice. Santos demanded to know the child's address and then illegally detained him and then he called 911 dispatch, identified himself as an off-duty officer. So they're getting bold out here, my friends.
Wait. A civilian, like a regular guy.
A regular civilian, Luis Santos. He's just
But
driving.
he's going to jail, right? Yeah, because false imprisonment.
False imprisonment.
Yeah. I hope he does time. That's horrible.
Wait, rewind though. I'm sorry. There was a plane flying over, and I couldn't hear correctly. And I have short attention span nowadays. So a civilian guy.
Yeah.
Arrested and detained somebody. Where?
He didn't arrest him because he's not a cop. He abducted a kid, basically.
He stole one.
Yeah. So he's driving down the street, like those normal streets, right? There was a child riding his bike, like children do, ride their bike.
How old was the kid?
Huh?
How old was the kid?
The kid, they did not say the age of the boy. Yeah, they didn't say the age of the boy, but he's a child. Riding his bike to practice. The adult male happens to see the child. Instead of thinking, oh, it's just a child, he thinks, oh, this child looks suspicious. I wonder why.
It's a black child.
It is a black child.
Is this man white?
Yes.
Well, Santos.
His name is Luis Santos. I don't know.
I know there are several Santos teachers at my school that are white.
I mean, look, this has echoes of the Trayvon Martin thing, and
yeah.
I mean, obviously, thank God it didn't end the same way, but it's basically the same thing. A guy who George Zimmerman, I don't know if you call him white or not, but he certainly wasn't black, and he saw a black kid walking through a non-black neighborhood, and basically thought he was justified in killing him. Essentially.
Right. So wait, what did happen at the end? I missed that. So he kidnapped the kid, and then what happened?
So he falsely claimed that the teen was on video committing a crime. On Tuesday, Santos was arrested and charged with false imprisonment.
I mean, good. I mean, it's good he got arrested. I mean, the fact that George Zimmerman is still free and is still alive, frankly, is like it's disturbing.
But
right,
but
I think that. Damn.
Also, Florida has such a high murder rate, and they didn't manage to get him. It's unbelievable. But I'm advocating, not advocating that, guys.
Me neither. But I'm just curious. Where the Bloods of the Crips at? Ah, birds! Get out of here!
I'm gonna give you a score.
They don't listen to me. They do not listen to me. This is the problem, yo. Like they don't listen for shit.
Because they're living their life, Bianca.
Well, they can live their life elsewhere. Well, why not right outside my porch?
So Bianca,
I'm gonna give you a super soaker, so you can just fire hose them.
That's a good idea.
Do you also know that the outdoors is their home? You know that porch that you're sitting on? You know how that's your house? Like to them, all of outside is their house. That's their home.
Are you sympathizing with birds, Cleon?
Sorry, I apologize. I didn't mean
they
to.
They are the enemy here.
I apologize.
Yeah.
I'm just.
And they got, like you said, the whole world is their home, so they can skedaddle. I mean, they're on my property. You know what I mean?
All right. So, guys, Herman Cain has passed away. That's right. Cain reportedly learned that he tested positive for COVID-19 on June 29th. He was hospitalized 2 days later after developing serious symptoms. His diagnosis came less than 2 weeks after he attended President Donald Trump's campaign rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Cain, who is co-chair of Black Voice for Trump, tweeted a photo of himself without a mask at the event.
Yep.
So he was proud to be there, proud to be a Donald Trump supporter.
A maskless Donald Trump supporter.
So I don't want to say no one deserves to die.
Well,
so 1 or 2. Okay,
I don't think
right.
Herman Cain deserved to die.
no.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
I might not. Yeah, I might not be into his politics. I still don't think he deserves to die. But I do think we should talk about people as they are. I think this is a great conversation to have. Like, how do you talk about someone who's passed away, who you think has done evil in the world or wasn't the best of human being when he was alive? Like, how do you talk about a person like that? And it's hard. I don't know, Bianca, I don't know if you know much about him. I know that he ran for president in 2012. I know he was the CEO of a major pizza chain. So he's done a couple of cool things, I guess. He was the
Yeah,
CDC.
I don't know much about him. I try to think about the fact that somebody probably loved him. Maybe he has kids. Maybe his mom loved him. You know, so of course, like, it's sad when somebody dies. But when I wonder how he felt. Like, did he feel like when he got diagnosed with COVID, did he feel like, oh, I made a big mistake?
Oh, I'm sure.
Or, you know, I wonder how he felt at the time. Yeah, because
I feel like you have to feel some kind of mistake or regret, right? You know, like, if I only would have just not gone or done this, like, I'm sure that pops into your brain, because especially when you're, excuse me, on your deathbed, if you just if you would have avoided, maybe, I'm not saying the Tulsa, I'm not saying the Tulsa situation was the environment that gave him the corona. I'm not sure, but like, I'm sure in the back of your mind you're thinking, hey, if I would have just avoided this thing, I didn't need to be here. I didn't need to be at this Tulsa rally without a mask. And even if I was here, I could have simply put on a mask. Like, it's the challenges weren't that grave. Like, it wasn't like a big puzzle in front of him. You know,
listen, I don't take, he grew up in the segregated South. He made it to be a CEO of a corporation in the 80s as a black man. Like, none of that is easy, you know, and I feel like he deserves respect for that. I don't really know what his political ideas are. I think he believed in a flat tax, which I think is a stupid idea.
999
is that days before he died, his Twitter was tweeting out basically propaganda casting doubt on the scientific consensus about the coronavirus.
Clearly not him in control.
Those tweets out. I think he was intubated, and some little intern who worked for him was tweeting those out. I am not happy that Herman Cain died, but it is a cautionary tale, you know, that we have to take this shit seriously. And It's not the only conservative leader who's died. I don't know if you've heard of the group Turning Point USA, but they were the group that sponsored that Young People for Trump meeting where they were shouting racist things about Chinese people, like the Wuhan flu and stuff. It was in Arizona, full of young Republicans not wearing masks. The leader of that group, Bill Montgomery, is an older guy. He just died of coronavirus too. You know, both of these guys were dismissing the coronavirus. They were linked to high-profile Republican events that spread it. Like, we need to learn from this, and Republicans need to learn from it too. That's all I'm going to say. Because no, it sucks they died, especially Herman Cain. I'm not happy about it, but we need to learn from it.
I don't know. It's, yeah, I guess. This is so hard for me because there's so many things I want to say. It's sort of like the "I told you so" mentality, right? You're like, I saw this and I knew I knew you could have prevented this with a simple act, and you chose not to. So I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird.
One thing I pray. Oh, you first, please.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I don't understand, like, why so many Republicans, and honestly, it's not just Republicans, but it seems like it's so many of them who just have a blatant disregard for science. Like, is it because they're the more religious party, and so that they just have they have this, like, mental thing where they can't believe science because they believe in religion, they believe in God? Like, I just don't understand why people can blatantly be like, hey, these people who spent years and years in college and studied these things, you know, are experts in their field. Let's not believe them. Let's come up with our own ideas. Let's not follow the rules when it comes to our health. I'm so confused.
But when you're religious, you think that God has your hand in everything. That's where their belief, that's where their whole thing is coming from. They're like, it's okay that coronavirus is out. I won't get it because God knows that I'm a good person or whatever. They justify it with God, and
right.
It sucks, but that's what they do. And then when they have people that they look up to, whether it be their preachers or whatever, telling them that they should not care that much about, wearing a mask and all that. That's why things are where they are. I think people are driven a little bit too much by religion and religious leaders.
I think in these things, both with kind of the anti-science thing and with coronavirus specifically, religion can be a force for good or a force for evil. If you look at African-American religious people, they tend to be liberal and they tend to vote Democrat. They tend to be very religious. In the more religious among them.
But they still have
global warming. What?
Sorry, I apologize.
No, that's all right. But it's a partisan issue.
But they...
Yeah, go on.
God damn it, guys. Stop sword fighting with your dicks.
Cleon, go first.
But I still think black people have about that same kind of issue. The ones who are hella religious, they still believe like the whole thing with abortion and all that. Like they still have that same kind of hiccup. I feel like the reason why a lot of black people are liberal, because socially they have to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like as much as you have these religious beliefs about God, that there's one party who's pro you and another party who's very anti you. So it's different for I think African Americans, because we know that socially that affects us, and we want someone who's more. I think for us,
you effectively don't have a choice.
So, anyways. So since we're on religion, we're going to sort of continue it with a segment called Clayon's War Against Organized Religion. Wow.
Hilarious that you had that prepared for, because we didn't even expect for this to go to religion.
Clayon's got it with the segues.
No, he's like, and we're going to roll right. Sweet. All right, go ahead.
So the next thing that we're going to talk about is megachurch. So an evangelical pastor has resigned. Actually, before I actually get into this, let me say, because I think people are going to think, especially with the weeks coming and the months coming, the more we do the show, that I'm anti-religion, and I'm not. I'm not an atheist or anything like that. I believe that everyone has a right to their religion. I'm anti-organized religion that takes advantage of people's belief in their God. That's what I'm anti. I am so against like mega churches and pastors who I think funnel a lot of the money that they get from their congregation into their own pockets and into their own like things. There's mega church pastors and people like that who are buying jets and they live in these mansions, all from the backs of the people, their congregation, the people who work hard to earn that money. And I'm very
taxes.
Huh? And yes, and they don't pay taxes. So I'm not anti-religion. I'm anti-organized religion, and I don't like the way that it has control over humans. So with that saying,
before you go on, you said that you are not atheist. What do you consider yourself? Just curious.
I think I'm a spiritual person, right? Because who am I? This is my belief. Who am I as a human being? I can't say that there is a God or that there is not a God. I don't know that. I've never died, or maybe I have. I don't know. Like anyone who tells you that they know what happens after you die, they're liars and they're bullshitters. So I don't know, Bianca. I truly don't know if there is a God, and I cannot say there isn't because I don't acquire that knowledge. But yeah, so I guess that's my answer. I don't know if that's like, but I don't necessarily have it. Huh?
Agnostic then?
I guess so, yes. That's about it. So the story that we're gonna get into is entitled Megachurch. So an evangelical pastor has resigned from his position at the helm of a California megachurch more than 8 months after its board learned that he failed to prevent his son, who's a pedophile, from volunteering with children. So his name is John Ortbergs, and he resigned on Wednesday with a, quote, heavy heart. First of all, fuck your heavy heart, bro. Like, no one cares about your heavy heart. Like, you allowed your son, you know that your son's a pedophile, and you allowed him to work in your church with kids. That's dumb, you know?
Wait, can you rewind? I think I like missed what you said. So he resigned because...
So he resigned because he failed to let like the rest of the church know first that his maybe son is a pedophile, and he allowed his son, who's a pedophile, to work with kids.
Okay. So did somebody like bring that up, and then he was like, "Oh, I resign."
That's what it doesn't say even clear in the story how they found out that. I assume since you have to register as a pedophile, maybe someone like was looking and they found his name or whatever.
Yeah, and it's illegal. Like the state of like you're not supposed to be able to do that. You know.
No, and his quote that he said while leaving is bullshit. Like clearly he says like with a heavy heart he's leaving with he's resigning with a heavy heart. Who gives a fuck? He says, "I want to express again my regret for not having served our church with better judgment." What? He said, "I didn't balance my responsibility as a father with my responsibility as a leader." Like,
so he knew that his son was a pedophile. He knew.
Yes.
He needed to get his kid needed a job after he got out of prison. Bianca, what was he supposed to do? Come on. No, it's horrible. And I mean, I don't know. My family, the Italian side of my family is very Catholic, and my mom does not believe in it. So I didn't go to Catholic school. I didn't go to church, but the abuse thing really rocked our whole region, when we were growing up, the sex abuse thing in church. And the more reporting, the more investigation gets done is, it seems like it's a problem in just about every religion. Almost every religion has a problem with sex abuse within it. And it's just because it's the people we trust who do it,
We trust humans who tell us that somehow they have a connection with God and they know specifically what God wants us. Like we trust people like that,
Listen, I'm not a religious person. I wasn't raised religious, but I spent a lot of time in the Middle East. I spent a lot of time in a lot of religious communities, and I think it's a force for great good. I think that a lot of people are genuine. I've never felt a divine connection. I'm going to be honest, but
religion,
people I know have,
Religion is the reason for the majority of our wars during history. Like the war that we're in the middle of right now, that we've been a part of for the past 20 years. Like how long have we been a part of this goddamn war? Is because of religion. So religion.
You could also say it's because of U.S. imperialism.
It's because of religion,
yeah,
and U.S. imperialism. It's both.
Yeah. Bianca, are you religious?
Am I religious?
Yeah. Is Bianca religious?
Oh fuck no.
No.
No, and it's funny because like I technically am two religions, and like I'm both Baptist Christian and Jewish, and I
never saw you down at the synagogue, girl.
Well, I actually got bat mitzvahed.
Really?
Yeah, I seriously, I had a bat mitzvah, and before, my bat mitzvah, my whole childhood, I went to something called Friday Group, which is a bunch of Jewish kids getting together, and, we learned Hebrew, the language, and then we learned about Judaism, the religion, and I was, super into it for a while, just because, I was interested in knowing, I liked hearing the stories and everything.
Yeah.
And, it was cool to learn the language and everything. And so I had a bat mitzvah, and then I also, on top of that, went to youth groups for like a Baptist youth group. I was part of the choir for a bit. My grandmother on my mom's side would force me to go to church all the time.
Was it these Baptist services that were legit 8 hours long or something?
Oh my God, yes. Everybody's sweating. Everybody's catching the motherfucking Holy Ghost, dancing up and down the aisles. I used to die laughing. When people caught the Holy Ghost, I'd be like, oh, hell no. Here goes Beatrice catching the Holy Ghost. And she ripping her wig off and everything else. It was crazy. And I used to laugh. And I remember me and my cousin used to secretly bring our Game Boys, because we would be so fucking bored. It would take so long. And even though I was forced into that, and I was even sometimes interested, when I went to youth group and everything, and with the bat mitzvah and everything, never even one time did I feel any connection to those religions. Never, and I've always been somebody who believed in doing good things and everything, but I saw so many selfish, asshole-ish people
that part.
In both of those religions. And I was just like, how could that be if you're, you know what I mean, supposed to be following the word of the Lord and all this stuff. And so from a young age, I just never bought into it. It was always fucking weird to me. Like, I never felt like God was speaking to me or anything like that. Like, I just never felt connected to it.
I agree. When I was, because I come from a culture that is super religious, like super Christian. I got baptized when I was like young, like a very church-based culture. So when I was younger, I was forced to go to church every Sunday. Went to church and I listened. And for me, and I was gonna ask Bianca what I'll just tell the story. Well, I'll tell my story, but I was also gonna ask Bianca what sort of got her out of the church. But for me, when I was in church, it was I guess my brain was developing, and I did notice that a lot of church-going people would, on Sundays, they're the most holy of thou, but on the other days, they're not. And that messed with my brain. I'm like, wait, are we, like, how are we even listening or following? It's clear that we're not listening and following any of the teachings that we're seeing or hearing in church. And then when you start to sort of go into the origins of men with what's his name, Mary and Joseph, like that story makes no sense. It doesn't, like, that's the creation of men. Like, if the things that we learn in science and what we learn in religion always contradict each other, right? Bible tells us that there was a man and a woman, they procreated, then they had kids. Okay, well, who did those kids procreate with? Who are the, like, did they then have like sex with themselves? Like, what, how did that branch out? How did we branch out? So I don't know, it's a lot.
I mean, I came from religion a little bit different. Like, I remember when I was like 6 or something, asking my dad if there was a God and what happens when you die. And my dad just looked at me at 6 years old. I was like, there's no God. I was like, well, I don't know, but I don't think there's a God. And I think when you die, there's just nothingness, you know? So from a young age, I was raised to expect that. But then in the Middle East, when I was in Egypt, I actually married an Egyptian woman. It didn't work out, unfortunately, but she was about Muslim. And
You look alike.
No.
You didn't know that about me, Cleon?
No, I should expect it. I didn't, but
you missed the last like 10 years of my life, dog.
Jake, you say things and it weirdly surprises me and doesn't at the same time.
Yeah, is it really
like,
that surprising I had an Egyptian wife?
Of course.
But so anyway, she was pretty devout, you know, and I converted basically for her, you know, because for a number of reasons it was important to her. And it was nice. I mean, like, I don't really buy into the message of Islam. You know, they believe in one just God who controls everything. And the world around me does not appear to be run like that. But it was nice. You know, I love the prayers, you know, the prayers you would do in a certain way that you see on TV. Like, I would do those as regular. You're supposed to do it 5 times a day. I wouldn't, but I would do it as regularly as possible.
I got things to do.
Mosque was nice, you know, and what was that?
No, I just said that's too much. I got things to do.
Yeah, no, exactly. But it was nice, though. It was almost like a cigarette break. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it was like just a time in your day when you could just settle down and just think. And I sort of feel that way going to a Catholic church or a Jewish synagogue or something. So I just feel like in our hearts, there's just a place for myth and just these stories that make no fucking sense, you know?
Yes, but those stories...
What?
But those stories shouldn't be what we carve our life from. Like, I get those stories and I get like those, like, how they influence your life. No, actually, no. I don't think they should influence your life. I think they should just be stories. And that's the part. Like, I think people use those as literal stories, as these things, these historical documents of things that happen. And it's not an historical document.
No, definitely not.
Right.
I mean, the Bible does have some good history in it, but it's not. It's a myth, you know. Go on,
yeah, it's totally. And what annoys me too is that people pick and choose what part of the Bible they want to, adhere to perfectly. Like, people be like, oh, you know, like, God said in the Bible that man can't lay with man. And it's like, yeah, but isn't there also a section where he talks about not eating, like, crustaceans or whatever? And here you are eating crabs. You over here at the shaking crab talking about taking gay people, bitch. Wait a minute. Put that crab down. Put that scrimp down. Because you over here trying to pick and choose You know what I mean? It's like, it's ridiculous. I really don't like that. And also, something that made me annoyed too is that like all of these stories like about, you know, whatever, they just didn't make, like Cleon says, they just don't make any logical sense whatsoever. And it's just like, I feel like I need logic to run my life.
Talking to a burning bush?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
He was
Right.
high, Cleon.
A guy goes up to a mountain and comes back with 2 tablets with 10 fucking things written on it, and the majority of them are the same things repeated. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like,
here's what I'll say about religion. I agree with you, whereas I've never bought into any of them, and I've tried at points in my life, but I just couldn't. But I do know people who have oftentimes haven't been the highest functioning people, who are having trouble in life. And they, I mean, like this one kid I grew up with, you know, he got into drugs and violent criminality. He went to prison. And when he came out, he had a Jesus phase. And it was like really obnoxious. He got super homophobic. Like he was like always dressing all in white and rocking the rosary beads. And I hated it. But like he wasn't shooting dope and he wasn't shooting people, you know? And I kind of gave that to him.
So he went from killing himself to thinking that people who don't have the same sexuality as him should die. Yeah.
No, but the thing is, he wasn't violent. He was just I was just less worried to have him living in the same town as my parents.
Right. Right. And my thing too is that like from a young age, my question was, well, why do good people die?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like why did my grandmother get cancer and die? Like she's a good person. She went to church all the time. That was like her thing. Why did she die? Why did you choose her to die? Why are there bad people here that aren't dead? Like, what is the point that you're trying to make, God? Like,
John Lewis just died, and Trump is healthy as hell.
Granted,
like,
he looks like a piece of leather. However,
true that. But anyways, so guys, we're gonna head into some random celebrity news. I'm sure you guys have heard this Megan Thee Stallion issue that she's having. So, Megan Thee Stallion revealed. I'm sorry?
I like saw something briefly about it, but like I didn't like look into it any further. So I'm glad we're talking about it because I want to know.
Well, I consider myself an expert, but look, go on, Plan.
So Megan Thee Stallion revealed she'd been a victim of a shooting following an argument with fellow musician Tory Lanez. As a result, Megan underwent emergency surgery to remove the bullet from her feet. Hours later, Lanez was arrested on one felony account of carrying a concealed weapon in a vehicle. So supposedly she and Tory, they were at a party, Kylie's party or something like that, in the hills of Hollywood, and an argument between her and Tory happened, and I guess they were splitting off. Tory went into his car, took out his gun. From his end, he said he fired it in the air or some shit like that. And supposedly the bullets hit the person that he was arguing with in the leg.
Stop it. Come
so
on.
He had a magical gun that just...
They weren't dating though, right? They were just...
But that's the thing. People don't know. So supposedly there's different kinds of information. Some people are saying they were kind of dating. So, but she hasn't said for sure if they were dating or not.
Megan Thee Stallion has flirted with a lot of male rappers on social media.
As she should.
It seems like she's kind of single and loving life.
I feel like she's flirting with me.
Yeah.
Single, ready to mingle.
Yes.
But the crazy thing about the crazy thing is that she was shot by another musician who, right now, his star is like really high.
That new album is huge for me. I'm going through a bad breakup, and Tory Lanez has been my number one co-pilot in this breakup, let me say.
Like, his star was supposed to continuously rise just because of during the quarantine. He had the whole quarantine radio thing. Like, he was making like deals. He got out of his contract. I forgot who he was signed to, but he got out of his contract and he was fighting to get out of it. And he finally was able to get out and is now independent. And he gets upset and shoots a woman in her foot. Like, people, I don't know. Like, I would think as a person in Tory Lane's, like, I would think if I was Tory Lane, I would never do something that idiotic because I have a lot to lose. So what? Like, it's just stupid, man.
Yeah.
And he's kind of a coward for doing that. Like, who shoots a woman?
Total. Yeah, I mean, this brings up two issues. First of all, I love both Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion. They're two of my favorite artists, so I was kind of upset about that because it sucks, right? But
well, that's hilarious coming from you, Jake. Yeah, Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion are two of my favorite artists.
I mean, if you're going through a bad breakup, first of all, Megan Thee Stallion is having a moment. I think she's on everyone's playlist.
Oh, yeah.
Hot Girl Summer, maybe not this summer, but last summer, that was her summer.
I don't necessarily.
If you're going through a bad breakup, I don't care. You should listen to Tory Lanez's last few songs. They're good. But that being said, I mean, this is two things like drinking and gun violence, you know, and I'm not opposed to gun ownership. You know, I think it's a complicated issue, but like if you're going out drinking, you should not bring your gun. And I don't really know what happened. It's sketchy, but it seems like they were drinking alcohol. They got in an argument, and Tory Lanez like probably drunkenly shot Megan Thee Stallion. Which,
first of all, why are you bringing a gun to a party in Hollywood Hills?
Yeah, it's really stupid.
That doesn't make any sense. You're literally going to a celebrity party with other rich people with money. Why do you even have a gun on you? Second of all, if you felt so scared about your life, why don't you have guards?
Yeah. And frankly, I don't think it's ever, I mean, for lack of a better word, I think it's always some bitch shit when you lose a fist fight and shoot the guy who beat you up. Like, you should just go home, you know, in most cases. And that's doubly true if it's a woman, you know. So, and that might have, there are some rumors that Megan Thee Stallion beat up Tory Lanez. And even if she did, it's not.
Physically?
Really? First of all,
Well, you know about the size differential. Do you guys know about the size differential?
She's like tall and he's short, right?
According to police report, Tory Lanez is 5'2". And Megan Thee Stallion is like, she's approaching 6 feet. So this is not justification at all for shooting her in the foot. Like, obviously, it's horrible. My money would be on Megan in a fucking box.
I don't care if the woman is bigger than you. It's the woman. You're a male. Put your ego away and leave. You're a rich musician. You can get almost any girl you want, any woman you want. Why are you even, like, you have to have, you said he's 5'2", he has to have small man, like a small man complex, because there's no way that I'm getting to the point where I'm shooting around in the air at someone because I had an argument. And even if she is bigger than me, she pushed me. I've been in relationships where the woman was the aggressor and I've gotten pushed around. Not once did I decide I'm gonna shoot, punch, anything like that, right?
Yeah,
because there's no excuse for Tory Lanez to do this. I think I'm not a big let's cancel people, but we should send him back to Canada. He can resume his career there. I think we're done with him here in America.
Hashtag deport Tory Lanez.
Yes, that's my hashtag.
Make him Justin Trudeau's problem.
For real, get him out of here.
He can shoot Alanis Morissette next time.
And plus, all Tory Lanez does is remake old songs. Like, he's not really doing anything that out of, like, he's just like,
I'll share my playlist with you, Cleon. I'll share
if I really want to hear a Tory Lanez song, I'll listen to the original. Like, fuck that. Like, no, get him out of here. Like, get him out of here. I don't.
Like, I want to know, like, what was this argument about? Was it like I need to know, like, yo, like, she looked at me funny, yo.
The rumor I heard, which it might not be true, we're just repeating speculative, fucked up rumors. So keep that with a grain of salt. But what I heard is that he was flirting too hard with the Jenner girl who was there, and
Kylie.
I started yelling at him, and he responded with gunfire, which sounds like an inappropriate response to me.
You think? Any response besides "girl, you tripping" is an inappropriate response.
If a girl hits you, this is your only move.
For real. And if she's getting too aggressive, maybe a nice little hold, like, "Hey, can you stop?" Like, I get that. I've been there in the past where I'm like, let me hold you down. But
firearms should stay out of it.
Huh?
Firearms should stay out of it.
They should always stay out of it. That's ridiculous. Like, Cleon is right. Like, what were you doing even bringing your gun with you? Like, who walks around with a gun, like, unless you're, like, going hunting? Like,
dude, You're going to a Kylie Jenner party. Why do you need a gun? And if you need a gun, go into a Kylie Jenner party.
Don't go.
Damn, what's her name? Kylie Jenner. And if you do feel threatened, wow, my words today, brah. If you feel threatened, go into a party like that, then don't go.
Yeah.
Notice how I got rid of the name of the girl.
I can't keep track of them either. They all have the same plastic surgeon.
Kylie Jenner. I don't know. But anyways, more awesome news, guys. Are you guys into the weekend? You guys into the weekend?
I love
Yeah.
Me too. Well, you should be really excited by this news because TikTok has announced its first ever cross-reality experience featuring The Weeknd. Yes, that's right. TikTok presents Weekend Experience. It's going to be fantastic, guys. Are you excited for that? You excited for the Weekend Experience?
Dog, I got TikTok off my phone because I'm not trying to have the Chinese intelligence agencies all up in my shit. So.
Yo, I'm on TikTok constantly. It's actually a problem. I'm worried.
Show us a dance.
What joy do you get out of watching TikTok? Because I'm not part of the community, so I don't know.
Oh my God, like almost any joy that's not coming directly from like my son and my husband is coming from TikTok. Like there's no other joy in the world. Like TikTok is hilarious. I found so many people on there who are just absolutely hilarious. You put up a minute video or whatever. It's great. Plus the dances, like I think TikTok is so awesome because like, you know, these dances go viral and it's just freaking people all around the world dancing. Like,
do you have a TikTok dance? Show me a TikTok dance.
Don't show me TikTok.
Come on.
I don't do the dances. I just watch them. You know, I know a couple, but you know, I don't do them. But no, I think TikTok is so freaking awesome, and I hate that. Like, if anybody hates on it, I'm just like, why? It's like so joyful. Like, it's a nice.
It's joyful because it's a Chinese company that's trying to take all your information and sell it. That's why.
Well, I try to ignore that.
Yeah.
To be honest, like,
stop being such a pessimist, Cleon.
I can't help it.
Information is everywhere anyway. Like, I mean, if
That's
you ever work hard, like if you ever, you know what I mean, you buy something online, whatever. Like everybody knows everything. Like if somebody wanted your information, they would.
Your search history.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Who am I? I hate a lot of social media stuff, so I'm hella biased. So I'm not gonna convince anybody otherwise. I have my own reasonings for not participating in a lot of these social experiments.
Yeah, you're not on social media. You're not on Instagram.
Nope.
Are you on Facebook?
Yeah, but it's an inactive. It's like an account that I've had when I was. Since I was in high school.
I just realized that, like, yeah, I don't ever see you on there. That is so weird. Wait, Jake, you're not either.
No, I have an Instagram account.
I'm not friends with you. That's so weird.
Yeah, I like to. It's a shady Instagram account.
Oh, is it
you know, so I don't. But yeah, I'll friend you, and I have Facebook. The thing is, I have so many friends in North Africa and other parts of the world, and Facebook is an efficient way to keep in touch.
Right.
Yeah, I'm the worst when it comes to things like that. So
yeah,
I'm very anti.
Like as a young person, like don't like. For me, it's like if you don't have an Instagram or something, like you're like not a legitimate person. It's so weird.
Why?
I feel nervous about people who don't like. Whoa.
I know everything that you know from Instagram, and I'm not on it. All the stuff, all the news and whatever you're learning from it, I know that, and I don't have an account. You can still get all that information from other people who have accounts from new. Like you don't need an Instagram to be in tune with what's happening in the world. I feel like I'm connected.
I know that, but like. Just like, I don't know.
It's almost like you can do a background check on people. Like, since I dipped my toe back in the dating market, many women have not met with me until I've given them my Instagram. Just so they can see what I'm up to, you know? Just
and I wouldn't either. I literally wouldn't either. I'd be like, yo, if you're like not on Instagram, that's hella shady to me.
Yeah.
How?
I have no.
What do you have to hide, Cleon? What do you have to hide?
It's not. We had this conversation earlier, Jake. It's not. I have nothing to hide. I value peace. I value inner peace. I value having my own space and not having other noises infiltrate that. I don't like social media because it's a lot of negativity. It's a lot of people trying to find a reason to get upset. It doesn't feel like the space that I want to constantly be a part of. I don't want to, I even in the real world, I would never be part of a space where people are like that. If I was in a room where there's a bunch of like assholes like critiquing shit, like, and I would leave. So why would I subject myself to that on a daily basis if I'm not getting anything from it? Like the only thing I feel like I would get from it is maybe my art career or whatever I'm doing would go a little further because it's ways for people to pay attention. But that's the only value I see in social media.
See, my Instagram is just friend, girl with big ass, friend, girl with big ass, friend. And like, and so just scrolling through it, it just makes me happy, you know, but you gotta be careful who you follow.
I hear you. I totally hear you. All right. So my favorite part of the show is here, guys. It is time for you and Bianca to convince me of some things in this world. I'm a very unsure
really
person.
Hard.
Huh?
This is harder than I thought. Also,
I love it.
I won the last one, folks.
So if you guys don't know what this game is, I have three things. I have something that has to do with food, an artist, and a miscellaneous thing. And Jake and Bianca have to convince me, or they have to convince me they have to convince me to get the thing or be part of the thing or not. So it depends
pro or
on
con. One of us is going to be pro the thing, one of us is going to be con the thing, correct?
You did a way better job explaining it than I did. I don't know where my brain is going today. Thank you very much, Jake. I appreciate it. So Bianca, last week, were you pro or against? You were.
I was anti, so this week I can be pro.
All right, so you're going to be pro, and Jake is going to be anti. So the first thing is food, and the first thing is bacon, guys. Bacon. Bianca, you have to convince me why bacon is great. Why should I buy bacon when I go to the grocery store? And Jacob, you're going to be anti. So think about your stuff. Bianca, I'm going to. Oh man, you know what I should have done previously before I started this? Timer. Should have got a timer. My timer thing going. Shoot, I'm not going to be able to do it, but I'll do it in my head. All right, so I'm going to give you 10 seconds. You're going to have 10 seconds to convince me, actually 15 seconds. 15 seconds to convince me why I should get bacon. You ready?
Yes.
All right, go.
Bacon goes with everything. It goes with vegetables. It goes with starches. It is so delicious. It's smoky. You can make it in many different ways. You can chop it up. You can put that bitch in a salad. You can just eat it the way it comes. You can have it more crispy. You can have it softer. You can make it to your liking. There's also different flavors. You can have it with maple. You can have it hickory smoked. There's so many different ways that you can have bacon, and the texture in your mouth and the flavor is like no other. It brings that umami, which is just that flavor that you just can't put your, like, you know what I mean? You just can't quite grasp, but it's just so good.
Thank you very much, Bianca. All right, cool. The umami, I like that. All right, Jake, please tell me why I shouldn't eat bacon. Like, what's all
right, this is an easy question. Bacon is the crack cocaine of food. It's a lot of fun, but it's no good for you. It's filled with the bad kind of fats that make your heart stop. But the most important thing is that cured meat with nitrates, which bacon is the most prominent member of that category, cause colorectal cancer, which means, in other words, asshole cancer. If you don't want in the next 30 to 40 years to have some sort of doctor bent over your butthole cutting out a cancerous body, you might want to not eat bacon.
All right, thank you very much, Jake. Oh man, I let me say this from the get-go. Bianca, you really had me. The edamame or udamami, like I was loving it. You were describing the flavors. I was dancing. I was like, yes, I love all those flavors. But then Jake with the Trump card, man, the whole butt thing, like up in my butt with the butt cancer, like that affects me. You know, I really don't like things around that area. And if I'm gonna eat something that's gonna cause,
you try it.
Huh?
Nothing.
You say it's awesome if you try it.
Don't knock it if you try. Have you ever tried? Don't knock it until you try it.
Oh.
For men, that's what I've heard.
Okay. Even with that recommendation, Bianca, I'm still gonna have to give it to Jake just because of the whole butt stuff. Like, yeah,
I just want to say, real talk, I love bacon. I'm like, damn the torpedoes. Every meal, I put the chopped up bacon and everything. I'm just going to have to get a new butthole.
Dude, I really thought that you were gonna say on the real, I love butt stuff.
I mean,
I was getting ready for that.
talk to me after the podcast. You know what I'm saying?
All right, Jake, you're gonna do.
Every time you upload a YouTube video, you have to check a box. Is this video made for kids? And I'm always like, no.
No.
We talked about prostate.
All right, we're gonna move on to the second one, which is artists. Jake, you're gonna go first in this, so be prepared. Artist is going to be Lady Gaga. Jake, you have to convince me why Lady Gaga is awful, why I shouldn't listen to Lady Gaga. Bianca, you're gonna have to convince me why I should. You know, what about her music hits or slaps, as the kids say these days. So we're gonna start first with Jake. Please convince me why I should not listen to Lady Gaga.
All right, if you want to listen to Lady Gaga's best album, listen to some mid-career Madonna. She's completely derivative of like my homegirl Madonna, and she's also like her voice isn't that good. Compare her to any other R&B singer, and I just feel like her chops aren't there. And also, I feel like because of all of this, because she's kind of basically just Madonna a generation later, because she's not as good as a lot of other R&B singers out there, she always has to rely on like covering herself with meat costumes and stuff.
Right.
It's not really that into her. I think she's kind of gimmicky. I think there's better folks out there.
I hear you with the whole meat thing. I get that. What about you, Bianca? Why should I ignore everything Jake say and just buy a Lady Gaga album right now?
Lady Gaga's songs just straight slap, and and she has an excellent voice, and in some songs it's showcased and in others it's not, which also brings me to her great range. She can sing power ballads and she can also sing awesome pop songs. Rah, 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 rah. How do you make that lyric awesome? Lady Gaga did it.
Right.
I love that. I do this every time. And it's amazing. She makes you feel good in your own skin. She tells young people that they are good enough the way they are, and that's amazing. I love her message. Plus, she's for the gay.
Cool, man. All right, that both very good arguments. I do agree with Jake that, you know, with the whole meat stuff, like, especially in the beginning of her career, she was just a lot of like weird costumes that threw me off. But I do agree with Bianca that her voice, she does have a nice, you know, power ballad voice, and the whole rah rah thing, I don't know, she made it work, right? It was a really good song. So from that though, I think the person that convinced me, I think it has to be Bianca. It was the dance. That is just classic, right? It's like, how do you do that and not remind people of Michael Jackson, right? You just do something like that and you're like, oh, Lady Gaga, and naturally you would think Michael Jackson, right? Thriller, but she took it. So I'm going to go with Lady Gaga on that one. So good job, Bianca. And last thing, Bianca, you're going to go first this time. This is the miscellaneous one. The Emmys. Bianca, please convince me why I should watch the Emmys that's coming up. And Jake, please tell me why I should ignore it. I should just turn my TV off as soon as I know it's coming on. So we're gonna start with Jake first this time, right? Because Bianca started. Wait, who started first last time? Wasn't it?
It was.
I think it was me.
Oh, okay. So Bianca, we're gonna start with Bianca this time. So Bianca, please convince me.
Yeah, so the Emmys are great because it can tell you about all the great TV shows that you may have not heard about. So the great thing about watching the Emmys is it introduces you to things that you may not have watched before that you're now interested in because you
like what?
Learned about them. What?
I said like what? What specifically?
Like, for example, you know, maybe you didn't know about Game of Thrones, and then it won some Emmys, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna check that out since it won a bunch of Emmys. Right. So it could be cool. And then boom, now you found your whole life. You now have an obsession with Game of Thrones, and that's great.
That is a good show to be obsessed with. Okay, cool. Jake, why should I avoid the Emmys?
Well, let me tell you a true story. When I heard that Emmys was the topic of this, I had to Google the Emmys to remember what it was about. The Emmy, all these award shows, they're whack and getting whacker. I remember when I was a little kid, my parents would have people over and we'd watch the Oscars together. I would not be caught dead doing that. My parents don't do that anymore. It's lame. MTV Movie Awards, maybe, but the Emmys, they're the redheaded stepchild of the award shows, and you're better off just like, YouTubing puppies playing, I think.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you guys very much. I think this is hella bias. Like this topic is hella bias because I hate the Emmys. So Jake is gonna win regardless.
I also hate the Emmys. Stupid. It's so boring.
I mean, I felt bad for Bianca. The Emmys, come on.
I did too.
The Oscars, maybe.
Yeah, the Oscars is somewhat cool, but like even that's boring. Sometimes.
Yeah, I wouldn't watch the Oscars before I watch the motherfucking Emmys.
Yeah, but music awards are fun because they have performers, right? Like, you know what I mean?
That's
like,
true, yeah.
Those are fun because people put on these big shows and it's like going to like one of their concerts because you get to see them like with all the costumes and the dancers and all of that. But these TV and movie awards are so boring. Like, I just like to see the girls' dresses, to be honest, and like
even the Tonys, like they perform scenes from the play or from the musical or whatever. I never watched the Tonys.
I never watched it.
Oh yeah, they do that. So instead of like
fun.
Yeah, instead of like, you know how like MTV Awards or whatever, how they would have the performers, so it would be like the nominees or whatever of the plays, and they would like perform a musical act from the play that they're doing.
That's cool. So. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I mean the Grammys kind of suck. Like the Grammys never give the right people the award, but the MTV Music Awards are good. I fuck with them.
You know what was the lick this year? And I usually don't watch it. The BET Awards was fantastic. The way they did it, they were all just like music videos. It was really good. I enjoyed it.
I didn't see it. I've enjoyed the BET Awards in the past.
Yeah, I got rid of my cable recently because I realized it was a huge waste of money and like
me too.
Nobody needs it anymore.
Yeah.
But it made me sad because I miss out on those types of award shows that I actually like. So.
All right. So we have two more segments. This one's going to be really quick, and then we have the last segment. This one's called Clayon Suggest. And this is just, I want to suggest something. Guys, you have to, either when the show is done, you have to type in Smokey Robertson gang bangin'. Once again, Smokey Robertson gang bangin'. It is a fantastic song about the youth and how they're gang banging and how they need to get back on a better path because they've failed and the society has failed them, guys.
What year is it from?
Huh?
What year is it from?
I believe it's this year. I believe it's either this or last year.
Get ready to like tell me about some porn from Smokey Robinson's old ass.
No. It is a YouTube music video. Once again, Smokey Robertson, and the song is called Gang Bangin'. Oh, mwah, piece of art. Oh, it's fantastic. So please go and check that out. I'm sorry, Bianca?
Very interesting. Yeah, no, I will check it out.
Wait, but didn't he die? I'm not familiar with his work, but isn't Smokey Robinson from like the 50s?
He's alive.
I don't think Smokey Robinson's dead, bro.
Oh, okay. He's older though, right? He's like a blues man though, right?
I don't think it's blues.
He's a guy with the light eyes. He was a
I think he did R&B.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he did blues. He has like light colored eyes, and he's a lighter black male. I don't know.
I'll check it out. I'll
definitely.
I'll tell you what I think.
It is great entertainment. All right, so we're gonna hit you with the last segment of the show, my friends, and it's called Bianca. Birds are like really cool, and the bird that I have for you this week, Bianca, is the raven. Bianca, ravens.
No.
I don't know if you know this, Bianca, but ravens can mimic human speech. Okay, some ravens are even better than parrots at mimicking human speech.
That's disgusting.
And not to mention sounds from the human world. So they can even pretend to be a car engine revving up like better than I just did. They could even run in water, toilet flushing. They can pretend and do that sound, mimic that sound. Also, in the wild, ravens sometimes they sometimes imitate animals like foxes and wolves, so that the fox can come to the kill and open it up for them so that they can get up in there. These are smart birds, Bianca. They're intelligent birds that can comprehend language, human language, and use other animals' calls to manipulate them.
You should know to not come around me.
So I'm just saying, Bianca, birds are really cool. Ravens specifically are really cool. Has that changed your mind?
Bianca, they're fiendishly intelligent. They use wolves and foxes to help them open up corpses. And I don't know if you knew this, but in traditional European paganism, they're associated with death and the devil. So what's not to like, Bianca?
And Bianca, you know how you were yelling at those other birds, like, get away? A raven might be able to understand when you are telling them that you need some space.
That I'll fuck with if they actually leave. Or, yeah, no, they might understand me and then they might get sassy with me and they try to say, no, you get back. No, we're not having an argument because I will roast you.
Literally, I will bake you.
Granted, I'm not touching that bitch, but I'll have somebody else roast you. But I'll roast you with my words first and foremost. No, I'm not having an argument with a whole bird. You really would have thought. There's enough pigeon heads out there to try to argue with me. Chicken head ass bitches and everything.
So that hasn't helped in any way, like that. No,
it might have made it worse. Dude, that's disgusting. Imagine saying something and then a raven goddamn repeats it. Oh hell no! Now you're out here telling my business. So now I hate you. You're disgusting, and you're telling my business. Oh hell no!
All right. Well, I'm gonna try again next week.
The hate is so strong.
I thought that would be a really good one. I thought that would be a really strong one, other than last week's. But okay, fine, cool. I'll be back next week with some more facts to convince you, Bianca, that birds are like really cool. Thank you guys very much for joining us this week. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our page, please. We're just starting out. We need as much eyes as possible. So please, if you like the things that we're saying, even if you don't like it, please, give us a little follow or whatnot.
You like what we're saying.
Yes. Just hate watch. I don't know. There's people out there that like hate watch Fox or whatever. So hate watch us, but subscribe and hate watch us. Or whatever.
Like give me some credit for like gelling down my edges a little bit. You know what
Looks good.
The headband game. I should have rocked my headband today because you're both killing.
It's always next week.
Too,
it's always next week. But thank you guys very much for joining us here on Coffee Milk. Please come back next week for another sip.
I'll be 30 next week.
Ooh, dirty 30. I love it.
Hey, I got an opinion, and I'm gonna say what's on my mind. You might not agree, it's cool. I'm one of a kind. Trying to move forward, so I gotta be progressive. Gotta make sure everything I say is selective. It's only my opinion.